the MLB, NLDS, and ALDS. Um, yeah, so it's been, we got our bracket here still. Let's see. We got our bracket. We got our first Blue Jays into the ALCS. We got a game 5 with the Detroit Tigers and Seattle Mariners, and then you have game 4 coming up on the NL side today. So um, it wouldn't be baseball without game 5. So hopefully the rest of the series. I mean, I don't think the LA series gonna go 5. I think the Dodgers take care of business this afternoon. But you never know what can happen in that Brewer Cup game, and you already got the Seattle Mariners and the Tigers going into a game 5. So anything can happen in that. So what do we feel from so far? How is everybody feeling so far? Especially because y'all are Brewer
Hmm.
fans. So
I mean, as far as this series goes, I felt pretty good after the first two games because it seemed like in those two games that it was pretty clear that Milwaukee was the better team on the field. And even last night, I thought that they were pretty evenly matched. The Cubs obviously had their big first inning. Quinn Priester had the lights were a little bit too bright in Wrigley yesterday for him. Nick Mears spiked a pitch in the dirt, got a run home. And then Milwaukee just had to play catch up the rest of the way. I thought that for 8 innings out of the 9, they were the better team. It's just they weren't able to get it done at the end of the day. They had their opportunities, they didn't take it. I think the pitching matchup's going to matter a lot today, more so for who the Cubs throw out there almost than who the Brewers throw out there. I could almost see the Brewers going with another bullpen game today and saving Freddie for game 5, which I don't agree with the move, but I could also see it happening. The Cubs, I think all hands on deck. I think they're going to start with Boyd. He's been better at home than he has been on the road this season. And then after that, it's just all hands on deck, like I said.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think the biggest issue today in terms of pitching for the Brewers is deciding what you do with Freddie Peralta, because if you use Freddie Peralta in game 5, chances are you might not have him back until the earliest game 3 of an NLCS, which would be just to give him the amount of rest that he needs. If they put
When
him in
you're
game 4,
you'd be deep in the hole at that point too. Like it's like say you have to wait till game 3. Priester didn't look good yesterday, and I like Jose Quintana pitched very well yesterday. With that said, I don't know how much I trust him against most likely, in my opinion, a Dodgers lineup. I just don't think he's going to be able to get it done against their big boppers that they have in there. So it's going to be tough. I think you need Freddie for one of those two games if you are to move on from this series. But if it does go to a game 5, all bets are off. You use anybody that's available and has a pulse, you throw out there.
yeah, I mean, for me, it's just you got to put Freddie Peralta out there right now. It's like it's what they say: don't play with your food. You have to make sure that you get it done. You do not want to risk game 5. And if Freddie goes out there and for some reason doesn't perform, then I mean that's the scenario. But I think you have to put your best foot forward in a game like this, and the best foot forward is Freddie Peralta. I don't think that we have another starter that's going to give him a better chance today. And I mean, with this game 5, and unless you like Freddie's stuff better in AmFam, which I mean, there's a scenario where he could just look better in terms of just the weather and being able to pitch inside a roof stadium. I mean, there's reasons that you can put Freddie Peralta out for game 5, but I really think the best option is to have him pitching in Wrigley tonight. And I mean, the Cubs haven't put out their option either, and I imagine both of those will go as far up to the wire as they can. There's no reason to give your division rival any more of an advantage in a game like that. But yeah, I mean, it's going to come down to the offense again. Besides that as well.
I mean, I don't think the offense, certain people looked good yesterday and others did not. I think Bryce Terang has to be a lot better than he was yesterday and even in game 2. He had a good enough performance in game 1 and he's been good defensively in the series. He hasn't been tested a ton really, but I think he just needs to be better at the plate. He was around 290 this year, put up close to 20 homers. We haven't really seen much of anything from the plate or at the plate besides his opening double to start it off last Saturday. And we played 3 games now. He really struggled yesterday. He had one of the biggest moments of the game and he struck out swinging. He's been putting up bad at bats. He hasn't been able to get on base really. I think he's definitely someone that needs to step up in this game. Obviously, you can't ask for much from the bottom of the order, like Joey Ortiz, for example. Like, we know what Ortiz is. He's a fantastic plus defender who struggles at the plate. You can't really ask for much out of him. Now, unfortunately, he always ends up with the bases loaded for some reason. It happened like 30 times this season. It's ridiculous, and he hit like 150 during it. I want to see more out of Sal Frelick in this game. I think his offense has been a little bit lackluster for the 300 hitter we saw him as during the regular season. He got a single yesterday, but I feel like if he's able to have a good game today, I like the chances of this team a lot better.
Yeah, well, the other thing we saw yesterday was, I mean, we didn't really have all of our best guys out there. We were starting Jake Bauers, who had a great game, to give him credit. We had Lockridge out there, obviously got pinch hit a few times. He was kind of the sub out later in the game, but those are guys that don't normally get the starting job, especially in I mean, this was not a super high leverage game with the Brewers having the Cubs backed against the wall, but that, I mean, for me, it's just like, let's finish the kill. We've seen this happen times and times before as Brewers fans, and we just got to seal the deal and move on and try and figure out how we're going to get going from there. But I mean, everything else has been pretty great so far. Churrio with a plus 1500 OPS. Contreras is playing well. Yelich is doing his job. Yeah, it just comes down to, like you said, Terang, Frelick, maybe Durbin getting another little gritty opportunity. We got to stop letting Michael Busch hit home runs in the first at bat.
Honestly,
there's a lot of
hear me out on this, right? Hear me out on this. So in the last 2 years, the Brewers, when they score first in the playoffs, are 0-3. When they don't score first, they're 3-0. I'm just saying, if we go 1-2-3 in the first today and Michael Busch hits a leadoff again, I'm not panicking.
I mean, I would love to see if your trend is true, but I also don't want to risk it. I'd rather.
I know what you're saying, but at the same time, yesterday, like, we scored first in that game, and I'm like, I don't know if this is going to be a good thing or a bad thing. And then we go to the bottom of the inning, and obviously PCA has a big hit, Michael Busch has his homer, and Nick Mears just had a bit of a wild pitch. So, yeah, I mean, Jalen, what do you think about this game from the opposite perspective?
Yeah, I mean, I have no words right now. I'm just happy we won a game, but because we should have won all 3 of them if you look at how many times we had the freaking lead. But yeah, I mean, it's head scratcher because the Cubs don't have no swing and miss. They don't have a pitcher that has swing and miss, and you can only get away with chopping at the bit or trying to get me over breaking balls and fast balls and all of that bull. So, I mean, they need. I mean, the really person you only had swing and miss from was Cade Horton and Justin Steele, and you don't have those 2. So, I feel like the Cubs got to come. It's going to be a slugfest. I think this game 4, and you have to make it that way because that's the only way the Cubs can win this series. Not saying that Matthew Boyd can't lock in like Tyon did yesterday, but you have literally 0 room for error every single time.
So you feel they should put out Matt Boyd tomorrow? Or today, rather?
I want to, but I'm also looking at like Colin Ray. He's been pretty good down the stretch for you.
I have a question for you. There's a certain pitcher that struggles against most teams for the Cubs, but dices up the Brewers. Would you be interested in starting Ben Brown in this game?
Yeah, I'm not mad about it. I don't see why he hasn't started anything. Like, Give
I
him
mean,
at least 1 or 2 innings.
the guy dices up the Brewers for whatever reason, and
He
he's done it for a
throws
couple years
97
now.
to 99. He throws very hard. He has swing and miss. He's the really only person that you can really think of besides Brad Keller and Palencia to have swing and miss. But you need that to start the game.
I mean, I think part of it just comes down to the fact that Council wants to stick to his guys. And that's why he hasn't done, even throughout the regular season, a ton of tinkering with the lineup. Kyle Tucker's still batting towards the top, even though he was in a slump. PCA didn't move down the lineup for the longest amount of time. When Matt Shaw was red hot, he stayed in the 9 hole. That's just, Council isn't as much of a gambler that way, I don't think.
Yeah, we pay a lot of attention to this series, and rightfully so. It's right in our backyard. But I think it's also important to keep an eye on everything else that's going on because, I mean, the Blue Jays did finish their series against the Yankees last night, and really it was pretty impressive. The offense was just too much. When you're playing against a team that has Aaron Judge and Carlos Stanton, all these guys, to be able to outplay them on offense is a huge deal. And I mean, Cam Schlittler didn't have a horrible game. He obviously kind of got into a sticky situation in the 7th, but other than that, he was fine. And that's when the Blue Jays broke through. But Blue Jays advanced as the first team to advance to the CS. Got a nail biter coming into Seattle tomorrow for that DS series, the Tigers and the Mariners.
I mean, that's going to be tough because I think lineup wise, the Mariners have the advantage in this, but the Tigers are pitching Tariq Skubal more than likely. So the lineup's going to be more or less neutralized just because they have the Cy Young winner out there on the mound. So that game, in my opinion, is a true toss up. I had the Mariners as my World Series pick before the playoffs started, and they'd be playing against the Dodgers. So I'm going to have to roll with them, but with Skubal on the mound, I think the Tigers are actually in a really good position here as well. And that would be a heck of a storyline if you think about it. From a team who blows a 15.5 division or 15.5 game AL Central lead to the ALCS and a chance to go to the Fall Classic. Like what a story that would be.
Let's get a little bit on that Dodgers series. What have the Phillies have to do for them to force a game 5 tonight? Or this afternoon?
I think the biggest thing is what
Christopher Sanchez has to throw. That's what it comes down to. You got to stop that offense. That's the reason that they haven't been able to keep up in games because they let the Dodgers get ahead. So they need to make sure that from the beginning, Christopher Sanchez is throwing, and then they have to have guys like Trey Turner step up on the offensive side.
Well, not only that, I mean, Kyle Schwarber seemed to come to life a little bit again yesterday after his 0 for 20 spell, which was unprecedented. But I think the biggest thing is they've been able to neutralize Shohei for the most part in this series. He really hasn't done much of anything, and they just need to keep that rolling because Shohei he's their MVP. He's the best player probably in all of baseball, and just being able to neutralize him would be huge for that team. The Dodgers have other guys, obviously. Freddie Freeman, Teoscar Hernandez, Kike Hernandez had a big home run. But when you look at it, it comes down to Shohei at the end of the day. The team runs as Shohei goes. And if Shohei's going to hit 2 homers tonight or whatever, have a big night, the Dodgers are probably closing it out. If Shohei struggles in this game, more than likely the Phillies force a game 5. And you never know what can happen in Red October.
Yeah, it's just it's when you look at the Phillies lineup, it's just like every other batter. I mean, everybody at the top of the lineup had a great game yesterday, but if I look at the last 5 hitters for the Phillies, they had a combined 3 hits on 20 at bats. You got Bryson Stott batting 222. You got Castellanos under 100 batting average in the playoffs. You got Kepler 222, Brandon Marsh batting 111, Schwarber obviously great game yesterday, but still batting 182. You're not gonna win games like that. So it's really the offense is gonna have to fire on all cylinders. They started last night. Can they keep that up? And Sanchez is gonna have to go at this star-studded Dodgers team in Dodger Stadium, and he's gonna have to throw pretty much a gem, I think, in order to be able to even extend this series. And if they do extend this series, it could make things really interesting. I still think that the Dodgers could have the better pitcher in that potential game 5. But I think to get to that point when you can get the Dodgers back into Citizens Bank Park, that's all bets are off. Anything could happen at
I
that.
mean, anything can happen in that atmosphere. The Phillies have struggled in said atmosphere the last couple of seasons, but all it takes is a couple hits that you string together in a game like that, especially in the first couple innings. If you get 2 or 3 base hits strung together and I don't know, the second or third inning, get a couple runs on the board, the Dodgers are playing from behind right away. You're in a really good spot at that point.
When they're gonna have to hit Glasnow too. That's the other half of it. And Glasnow is definitely no slouch. So it's gonna take, like I said, that offense to continue their momentum from Game 3, and it's gonna take Christopher Sanchez maybe not pitching a deep game, but just giving them 5 solid, maybe 5 innings, 1 or 2 earned. That's the best they can do at that point, I think.
I mean, if he could give him more than 5, that would be ideal because that bullpen struggles from time to time. Yohan Duran is obviously incredible, but the rest of the bullpen is kind of left a little bit to be desired in this series even. So if they can get some length out of him, 6, maybe even 7 innings, that would be huge.
I mean, I would love to see that too, but I don't see it. We haven't been seeing a whole lot of pitchers do it. And I mean, you saw Schlittler maybe went an inning out too long to put him back out there maybe when they shouldn't have because he was pitching well. But you got to know if you can get through 5 solid and there's a chance that you can find a better matchup in your bullpen, I think you got to go for it. And obviously that'll come down to evaluation at game time, and we'll see how that gets handled.
I mean, that's where the best managers make the big bucks too. Dave Roberts, for all the crap people give him, has 2 World Series now. He's clearly doing something right. And for example, Aaron Boone has struggled in the postseason. He made 1 World Series with that Yankees team. He's much maligned, and I feel like there might be a reason for that. He doesn't always make the right decision at the right time.
I mean, it's just a lot to change.
So the last one, what does the Brewers have to do to win, and what does the Cubs have to do to win?
Gosh, I mean,
well, I'll start. The Brewers just need to come out and I'm not gonna say beat BTA. That's not gonna happen. But they need to come out and establish the first couple innings early in order for them to settle in and be able to get that Wrigley energy down just a little bit because the Cubs are gonna be feeding off of it. You need a quality start. You cannot. I ain't gonna say you need to go back to the bullpen. I ain't gonna say you need to go to Mizorowski or anything like that because, even though Mizorowski got him last time, we all know what happened. What was it, last series? I guess in Milwaukee. I had looked. He overthrew the ball to first base. So, and
I mean that's why he ran it out this time. We'll put it that way.
So it's like, they just need to come out and do what they've been doing the whole season. Good starting pitching, put the bats together, do the little things. And for the Cubs, we need to establish it again early. The Brewers are 6-20 in road postseason games. So that hopefully history is with their side as a fan in me, but as like the sports analysis, Cubs need to come out and establish it early. You need to come out, you need to put a 0 up first inning. You need to put a 0 up second inning. And then I would say you need to I'm not gonna say you need to score an onslaught of runs in the first inning again, because we can say that might not happen this time around. But I would say just they need to do the same thing. Good quality starting pitching and come out and swing the bats. They have slug, they have a lot of power, they can hit homers. But you need to hit homers with guys on base. You need to hit like some guy you need multi-run homers, not just solos. So put the bats together and they could send this back to Milwaukee. So
I mean, I think the biggest thing is the Brewers have better back end of the bullpen guys than the Cubs do. I think Trevor McGill and Abner Uribe are better than Andrew Kittredge, Brad Keller, and Caleb Thielbar. It's just, if you can get to those guys, I feel pretty good about our chances. However, getting to those guys is a struggle. Wrigley has become a lot more of a pitcher-friendly park in the last few years, especially when the wind is blowing in like it was yesterday. The Brewers, the thing is they match up well in that scenario, but they also don't because the Cubs have such good infield defense with Dansby and Nico there. The Brewers ain't getting much past them besides obviously the error in game 1 that Nico had, which is incredibly uncharacteristic. I think the Brewers just need to get a few lifted over, do what they did best all season, put the ball in play, get a couple bloop singles. We saw it for their entire win streak. That was a lot of how they were scoring runs, opportunistic hitting. Get a good enough start out of most likely Freddie, because I don't see why they wouldn't start him, but you never know. If you can get 5 innings out of Freddie, I know it's the stereotype, and then you can go to guys like maybe not Abner and McGill right away, but you could go to someone in the pen that could be able to get you an inning or two of extra relief there.
Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth, Chris. I think that the Brewers need to have the lead when they go to the bullpen. I think that's what it comes down to, because I think if you can stretch it to your bullpen and they can do what they've been doing, I think that there's no reason to believe that the Brewers could give up a lead if they are able to get to that point and let that Studley crew kind of take over. But on the other side, Cubs, it's still just going to come down to offense, and it's going to come down to early offense. Michael Busch has been doing his job. Nico Horner's been doing his job at like Kyle Tucker. Started to warm up last night, but it still is 250 average. Ian Happ batting under 100. Carson Kelly hasn't really come to life yet. PCA still waiting for that. Dansby Swanson still waiting for that. Matt Shaw over 3 last night, has a 0 average in the series. So it's a lot of guys, especially towards the bottom of that lineup, that need to be able to do something for them. And I think if they do that, that could definitely force a game 5.
Which is absolutely, which I would say is probably absolutely terrifying for the Brewers, that they won a game and been scoring like that without the guys actually coming through like that.
I mean, I think the biggest thing for the Cubs is I think Seiya might be the X factor in this game because the guys behind him have been struggling. But if you can get 1 or 2 guys on for Seiya Suzuki and then he can go yard, because he's been hot, at least through the wild card round, he had a couple big hits. He's had a couple big hits in this series. If you guys can get a couple of guys on for Seiya, that could change the game.
Most definitely. We got, what was that game 4 for Cubs at 8:08 Central Time, which is insane. Then you have the Dodgers and Phillies at 6:08 Central Time. So
I'm gonna sound like Sam Strash right now,
Eastern time, rather.
But I was kind of hoping that the Dodgers would just get it done last night, just so the Brewers could play a little bit earlier. But I mean
you're telling me I'll be working during the end of the game.
Yeah, my boys will come into work at 3 a.m. if they have to and get it done.
Right. So